The Bengals are 4-8 following Sunday's loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Joe Burrow, well, he made some interesting comments about the locker room. You've been warned, Bengals players. Find out what he said and why I think it's so significant right now on CBT. Hi again, everyone, and welcome in to Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapien of BengalsTalk.com. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell. Today's video brought to you by BetUS. You're going to hear from Joe Burrow. You're also going to hear and see the most clueless, ridiculous thing that I saw following the Bengals loss to the Steelers, 44-38. The Bengals are 1-7 in one-score games, which is just insane to think about. They are 0-2 against the AFC North when scoring 38 points. Think about that. They scored 38 against the Ravens, loss. Scored 38 against the Steelers, loss. You're at home in both situations, and you don't win either of those games. Cannot happen. And yet that's the reality that we're talking about today with the 4-8 Cincinnati Bengals. And Joe Burrow said a lot of interesting things. We posted the entire video right here on CBT. But the good news is I have a couple of clips that stood out the most to me and I think are pretty telling. The first of which was when Joe was asked about the AFC North and asked about needing to change things to be better in the division. And he was pretty blunt that, yeah, things need to change.
I would say we need to change a lot of things this year. We haven't been good enough. We haven't been good enough to win games. So it starts with your division. You always want to win those, and we haven't. So we got to do a better job.
It goes without saying that the Bengals have to be better in the division. It goes without saying that they have to be better in one-score games. But now that they're 4-8, what do they have to play for? What do they have to keep them motivated? Well, I thought that this was really interesting from Joe because this is Joe sort of letting everyone know that, hey, no one's been good enough and you might not be here next year. There's been a couple of times where Joe's talked about, well, you put the film out there for all of the GMs, all of the teams across the league, and you want to put out good tape because you never know where you're going to end up. And that's always his goal. That's always his mindset as a player. And so he wants the guys in the locker room to feel that and be that way too and have that mentality. But I thought that this was really, really interesting. Joe Burrow on what the next 5 weeks mean, not only to him, but to all of the guys in the locker room that are still on this roster.
Yeah, I think we'll learn a lot about who we have in the locker room, the guys that we can count on going forward, the guys that we can't. And I think the next 6 weeks, 5 weeks are going to say a lot about who we can count on and who we can't.
That's Joe Burrow letting everyone know in that locker room, hey, you want to be here, you want to be part of it, you want to be part of the turnaround, you better show it. And that's also him letting the front office know, at least to a degree, changes have to happen. Changes have to happen. We're not good enough. And it's noteworthy. It is. And I have some more thoughts on this, plus the most ridiculous thing I heard in the Bengals locker room following that loss coming up next. Today's video is brought to you by BetUS. You can go to BetUS right now, and the Bengals are somehow favored by 6 points against the Cowboys this week. Yeah, that's 6 points that you can get in on the action with right now by using code YouTube150 at BetUS.com. Use code YouTube150. You'll get a 150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 and a 125% bonus on your second and third deposit up to $2,000 with BetUS. Again, go there. You can wager on the Bengals. You can wager on the NBA, any of the other NFL games with code YouTube150 for a 150% bonus at BetUS.com. Joe Burrow letting everyone know what time it is. That's what I take from those two comments. I mean, the fact that he said, we're going to find out who we can count on and who we can't is huge. And last week I did a video on, all right, well, these are the young guys that need to step up. And it's that plus all of the veterans, the Geno Stones. Hopefully Sheldon Rankins can get healthy, and then we can include Sheldon Rankins in this. But these guys that you're like, all right, well, can we bank on you or can we not? And I know everyone wants to cut all these guys, but that's what you're evaluating now, is all of these guys that you're either going to cut, potentially release, draft the replacement, sign the replacement in free agency. All of those things start to happen. And so if you're Joe Burrow, you know that. You better start laying that foundation now. And so I thought that those comments were interesting. This was not the angriest I've seen Joe after a loss, the most distraught I've seen Joe after a loss by any stretch. I think he kind of just knows. He knows the situation, knows what this Bengals team is or isn't. And man, oh man, the defense getting a lot of heat, rightfully so. Tomorrow, I plan on discussing the future of certain coaches, what changes should be made coaching staff wise. But I thought that this comment was just wild. And it's really a clip. And it was about a 3-minute interview. We posted the entire thing after the game in our Bengals React video that we did. But Germaine Pratt was asked about missed tackles. And there were obviously missed tackles. It was in the double digits. Yeah, I'm recording this on Monday morning. Lou Anarumo set to talk to the writers at some point on Monday, I believe. And so we'll know how many missed tackles the Bengals tallied. I know Pro Football Focus had it at 14. My buddy Jay Morrison had it at 16. The point is, they had a lot of missed tackles. So when you're captain in Germaine Pratt, your leader, a guy that was on the Super Bowl team, a guy that was on the AFC Championship team, a guy that has been around for the good and the bad, drafted in 2019, for him to kind of be this clueless, this dismissive, this what missed tackles after you give up 520 yards to mostly checkdowns for Russell Wilson? It's unacceptable. Here's what Germaine Pratt had to say about missed tackles.
Missed tackles?
Yeah. Did you feel like there were a lot of missed tackles today?
Not that much, I don't think. I just think that it was just getting the ball out quick. It's a quick game in the screens.
Could it be a matter of not being in the right position?
I'm just saying, like, it was just screen. It was quick games. They weren't doing too much. They was getting the ball out quick.
It's really hard to swallow a loss when you give up more than 500 yards of total offense.
Oh, I said, like, it was just screens, and then if we went zero, he just threw like a quick. Ball was quick. It wasn't that much.
Why was it difficult to defend those screens since they had so much success on it? Why did they have so much success on it?
The ball was out quick. That's all it was. Quick those.
Is that an adjustment that could have been made mid-game to change the way they were having so much success?
I mean, you're throwing quick.
Missed tackles? What missed tackles? I don't think there were many there. I mean, I just I think it's so funny. It would be like the Steelers dismissing Joe Burrow's passing yards. Like, passing yards? What passing yards? What quarterback? Like, there were so many missed tackles. There were so many guys in the wrong spot. There were so many guys that were unable to wrap up and tackle the way they should. George Pickens' 17-yard screen pass touchdown, where he essentially goes untouched and Cam Taylor-Britt doesn't keep contained on the outside and Geno Stone whiffs. It can't happen. And yet it did. Germaine Pratt had missed tackles. Akeem Davis-Gaither had missed tackles. The secondary had missed tackles. It just cannot happen, and yet it did happen. And that is a big reason why the Bengals are 1-7 in one-score games. And that one is when they were up 2 scores and the Browns scored late. So they stink in one-score games is basically what we're saying, ladies and gentlemen. And that is why they are 2-4 when scoring 33 points or more this year. Unbelievable. And yet, it's true. The Bengals are 4-8. Today's video is brought to you by BetUS. Please, please, please hit that subscribe button. Stay with us. We're not going anywhere. We're going to analyze. We're going to be critical when we need to be critical. We are going to discuss the Cincinnati Bengals. So if you are a diehard Bengals fan, you've come to the right place here with Cincinnati Bengals Talk. And if you're looking for more, look no farther than BengalsTalk.com. For Andrew Fox Miller, I'm James Rapien. Thank you so much for watching Cincinnati Bengals Talk.